So we're back and it's raining, but we've got things to do, so we're going to do them anyway, regardless of the rain. Let's get going. First things first, I have already taken a contract, and that contract is a mowing contract. However, at the same time, I noticed this little guy in the used vehicles, and I thought, well, it's difficult to say no to 56% discount. So I couldn't decide a colour, which is why I went with the empty. So we bought that. We'll need it later. And then I start looking at seeders. So looking at the different sizes of the seeder, which ones might work, which ones wouldn't, based on the horsepower we've got on the John Deere. And then a bright idea came to me. It hasn't come to me just yet, but a genius idea came to me, which involves a very large piece of kit. And here we go, this is me now having the genius idea. You can use some of the weeders as seeders. This guy is 12 meters. That is a monster. And he should be something that we can carry. It shouldn't be a big deal. We can pull that. First things first though, we're going to get the mower taken over to the field. However, with all of this rain, it doesn't really seem like I should be cutting grass. So we're just going to dump him up at the field for now, and then later on we can use him. As soon as it stops raining, we'll head over there. Or, when it stops raining. Maybe not as soon. So I had a quick look to see if there are any other contracts we could do, but not really. So we grab this guy, get him refilled, and off to the field. I shouldn't really be using the seeder in the rain either, but I've decided to do it. Otherwise we lose a fair chunk of the day actually from doing from waiting for rain. It was raining for a fair amount. I think it said that this map is based near Michigan, which I don't know much about it, but I think it is a bit rainy there. That was the creak of my door, so I did have the thought as well, maybe I could weed that bottom area, but in the end I decided no. I also realised pretty much after doing all the headlands, I realised it was a really stupid idea to do the headlands first, because what happens is I end up having to drive constantly over the top of seeded area, which is not what you're supposed to do. I should have done the up and downs first, and then done the headlands after. A little jump there. Now these rocks are driving me potty. This seems to be an issue with the map. There shouldn't be rocks dotted in the middle of a field like that, or at least the field boundary. Then you would plough up the area around the rocks. Instead, we've got a straight line going through the middle of the rock, which doesn't make any sense at all. I was not overly happy about that. I need to find a way to get rid of it, or at least to make it so that the AI worker doesn't think it should go there. And that was me forgetting, as you will notice, to actually put the lane assist on. I think, now that I'm thinking back, I think I actually ended up leaving a very small sliver of unsown grass. That's a bit annoying. So this is the point here. At this point here, with just one headland, it probably could have been manageable. But at this point, I should have stopped, and I should have started doing the ups and downs. Instead, I carried on with the headlands, which makes a mess, because now I'm constantly driving over the top of the seeded area. Very, very, very stupid boy. And as you can see, it's still raining, despite saying it's sunny. But it does stop soon, which means we will head over and start the mowing soon, because that is quite a big job as well. We've got a big piece of kit for it, but it's still a fairly big job to get all of that mown. It's a substantial field. And last episode I mentioned that I realised when I was doing the seeding how big the field is. This half of the field that we've designated for grass, it is quite large. I think we're not going to be able to use it all as grass for silage. I think we're going to have to actually use maybe half the field for silage grass, half the field for hay. But as I mentioned in the last episode, we will try. We'll see what we get once we mow it. Obviously I haven't even bought mowers yet. The grass hasn't finished being seeded at this point, but it will be. It will be. By the time the next episode happens, everything will be seeded. And I think it's about this point now where I decide that I should go and refill. Yes, because I run out, that's why. Right? That's the only problem with this machine. It is 12 meters, but it uses seed very quickly, and it's got a tiny hopper. So time to start the mowing instead. And there's something during the mowing that bothers me a lot. I actually reported a bug about this when FS25 first came out, because I noticed that one of the headers was getting stuck on the ground constantly. You'll see throughout this time lapse, throughout the mowing sections of the time lapse, the mower boards are getting caught on the ground. They're bouncing. It happened just then. It does that constantly. At one point I tried changing the cruise control because I thought maybe doing 15 is actually too fast and it causes it to bounce. But it didn't. It wasn't that. This is an interesting quirk. Sometimes you have to get out and back in the vehicle for it to refill. No clue why it does that. It did that sometimes on 22 as well. You had to do that. I've got no idea why. It's very strange. But anyway, I've decided with this field, because of its shape, that I'm going to do it in a slightly weird way. I also messed around here with the work mode. Yeah, so I've split it, basically. The bits that stick out, I've treated separately, and I've done one big square, or rectangle, and then the other bits have all been treated as separate sections. That's why I did that first bit first, and that's why I'm leaving that section on the left right now. And you can see the bouncing of the mower boards. I was a little bit worried that we would end up with missing a couple of percent because of it. Now I'm going to try and get the AI worker going. Annoyingly, AI workers won't pick up from where you left. They will only go back to the start, which is why I decided, okay, I'll just do a quick run up here, and then we'll turn the machine off, carry on with the mowing, and carry on with this later. I thought I could get the AI worker to take over from where I'd left off, but apparently not. So back to the mowing, and at this point I think I'm still working on headlands. Yeah, still got a few more headlands to do. So, future plans for what we do. Well, obviously, as I said, we need to get that second half of the field. We need to work out what we're going to do with it. I don't want to put anything in there right now that requires a harvester, because even leasing a harvester means we have to keep some money back in order to lease it. I'd rather have all of our money free for expansion, buying new fields and things like that. And once we have got once we've got enough money and enough fields, then we can buy ourselves a harvester and start doing some grain stuff. I think we'll probably end up focusing on corn a lot though. Possibly just corn and one grain, because corn means that I can obviously make chaff. So instead of having a harvester, we can chaff it all, and then we can use that to make more silage. I am splitting the field in half, and I'm actually going to split it into quarters, although my splitting into quarters is not very accurate, as you will see. We've got a lot more on the left than the right. I realised that later, and this was when I started trying to change the speed, the cruise control, thinking it might help, It didn't, so I ended up jacking it back up to 15 or full speed again later. Yeah, so if we do corn, then we don't actually need a harvester. We just need a forage harvester, and then with that forage harvester, we can even do chaff with grain. There's no difference in FS25 base game between chaff that is made with grass. Well, it's not chaff if it's grass, but chaff that's made with grass, chaff that's made with crops, or like grain crops, or chaff that's made with corn. There's no differentiation at all between them. So I don't know if one of them gives a better silage result. Not really sure. I'm sure someone like Disturbed or Scroft has done a video on that, so I'll have to have a look and see if I can find one. If anybody knows of one, then do drop me a comment and let me know. Yeah, I'm sure someone's already done it, and I can find out if there is any difference. Because that would be interesting to see, am I better off sticking with corn to make chaff, or should I go with wheat, for example, or should I go with something else? The other thing, of course, is if we don't have any grain crops, we are going to have to buy straw. So it's not a bad idea to have a grain crop, because straw means we can pad out our TMR a little, and we can also give bedding to the cows to get some manure. Manure is more difficult to handle, but at the same time you can use conveyor belts. So it's more difficult to handle if you're just doing it by hand, but if you want to get a conveyor belt system, it's not so bad at all to deal with. Slurry, on the other hand, well, you just take a slurry tank up to the point and refill, and that's it, you're done. Which is also why I think it's a good idea for us to have our main grass field next to where our cows would be, because that is also where our fertilizer would be, as in our manure or slurry would be around there. So I think that's quite a good idea. Just saves on lots and lots of driving. We'll still obviously have to be doing driving, but we probably won't need some enormous slurry tanker to transport from wherever the cows are to wherever we're going to be spreading. So we have the bouncing has subsided a little, but you'll notice there's still plenty of bouncy spots in here. It's very annoying. I don't know why it does it. I don't know if it's because there's stones on the ground that are making it bounce or something else. I haven't played this map before, so I don't know if it's something on the map itself that's causing it. I don't know if it's the Big M, because I haven't used the Big M in 25 at all before this. I know that I have done a lot of grass cutting already on 25 and have not had a problem with the mowers bouncing. So then the question is, well, is it because the Big M's got very large cutting boards, you know, a wide cutting range, working range? I don't know. Anyway, that's the contract done. So back to seeding for now. So I'm going to get this field finished. It's going to take a while, as you can tell, because the tractor is a little bit outmatched for the machine. The weight of the machine and the horsepower required, we're struggling a little bit. So I'm going to get it finished off camera. That's going to be it for the rest of this episode, and thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you next time. Bye bye.